Back in the days of Thunder Dragon, pint-sized females, and salad tossers, there was a fourth deck that made sure it would be heard. Its engine was played in many things, similar to what we're seeing with the Fiendsmith package at this moment in time. In today's video, we'll be covering Orcust in its return to the TCG. So we're going to start with Gearsu, and I'm going to read over the cards for people that maybe didn't play in the format. I know a lot of people have come into the game since Master Duels, kind of an almost old deck being 6 years old, I think. But if this card is normal or special summoned, you can send one Orcust or World Legacy card from your deck to the graveyard. Then, if there are two or more other cards in this card's column, treat this card as a tuner this turn. If you control no other monsters, you can special summon one World Legacy token, Machine, Dark, level 1, attack 0, defense 0, to both players' field in defense position. You can only use each effect of Gearsu once per turn. We're going to continue here by using its effect in order to send away the Harp Horror, and the Harp Horror basically allows us to banish it in order to summon an Orcust from deck, locked out of dark monsters for the rest of the turn, or I'm sorry, you're locked into dark monsters for the rest of the turn, as we're going to use the effect of Gearsu in order to get our tokens onto the field to play around Imperm in case your opponent doesn't Imperm this, but they Imperm something else. Also plays around evenly and stuff like that. Also makes it so that Eye Strikers can't activate their spell cards unless they have a way to link the token off. We're going to continue here by going into the Galatea Eye, the first new card from the new Battles of Legends set. It takes one Orcust or World Legacy monster, and you can only link summon Galatea Eye, the Orcust automatons, once per turn. Cannot be used as material for an Exceed summon. You can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, add one World Legacy monster or Orchestrated Babel from your deck or graveyard to your hand. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish one other Orcust card from your graveyard, special summon this card. You can only use each effect of Galatea Eye once per turn. Now, we're going to continue here by going into our Galatea. It takes two effect monsters, including an Orcust monster. This link card cannot be destroyed by battle. You can target one of your banished machine monsters as a cost, so the shuffling to the deck and then setting the Orcust spell trap directly from your deck are both part of the effect. You can only use this effect of Galatea, the Orcust automaton, once per turn. Now, we're going to continue here by banishing the Orcust, as we'll special summon out the Orcust Nightmare, go into the Dingirsu, and then we'll be able to bring back or attach the Harp Horror onto it, and then we're going to revive the Galatea Eye. There are a few different things that you can do from this point on, like going into a second Galatea, or going into an IP Masquerena, SP, but what I want to show is the direction in which I prefer to head with this deck, in which we're going to go into the Rusty, two dark monsters. It reads, during your main phase, you can send one Phantom Knights monster from your deck to the graveyard, then set one Phantom Knight spell trap directly from your deck to your spell trap zone. And again, if a Dark Exceed monster is special summoned to a zones that this card points to, while this monster is on the field, except during the damage step, you can target a card on the field and pop it. You can only use each effect of Rusty once per turn. Now, the synergy with Dingirsu is ultimately why I chose to continue to play this. Just great for going into boards, especially when you have stuff like IP into SP. You also have Nightmare Unicorn, Access Code. You don't want to run short of options for removal because the grind and the removal is how Orcust really gains its ground. So we're going to continue here by using the effect of the Rusty in order to send the boots and get ourselves the Fogblade. Use the effect of the boots in order to get a second copy of Fogblade, and now we'll be able to use the effect of the Orcust Nightmare targeting the Rusty, sending away Symbol Skeleton, which basically allows us to banish itself from the graveyard and then target an Orcust monster in your graveyard except Symbol Skeleton, special summon it. Also, you can't special summon for the rest of this turn except dark monsters. You can only use this effect of Symbol Skeleton once per turn. I also don't think that I read this. It reads, cannot be destroyed by battle with a link monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a face-up monster on the field. You cannot special summon monsters except dark monsters for the rest of this turn. Also, send one dark machine monster from your deck to the graveyard except Orcust Nightmare. And if you do, the targeted monster gains attack equal to the level of the monster sent to the graveyard times 100 until the end of this turn. And again, you can only use this effect once per turn. It's continue by using the effect of the skeleton to bring back the Galatea, and this will give us the ability to use the Galatea now in order to get that crescendo by shuffling back the skeleton, and then from here we can set ourselves the Fogblade and have two monster negates via the Fogblade alongside the Orcust crescendo. If your opponent does try to attack over the Galatea, you can always Fogblade it so that your opponent can't attack it. But with that, I'll take you on to the next combo. So for the second one, we're going to start here with the Harp Horror, and we're going to normal summon it. You're going to see that it's pretty much going to be the same thing as the Gearsu, except that we don't get the tokens because we have monsters on the field this time around. So we're going to use its effect in order to send the Nightmare to the graveyard, then go into the Galatea. Use the effect of the Nightmare targeting the Galatea, sending away the skeleton. Use the effect of skeleton so that we can keep Gearsu Girsu in the graveyard for when we have to revive the Galatea Eye. And now we're going to use the effect of the Galatea in order to get ourselves the Crescendo on board. And now we can link away into Rusty again, and just off one card, again, you're able to end on the 2 Fog Blades alongside the Crescendo, having an Orcust Link monster on field alongside the Rusty. You also have the ability to have a follow-up Dingirsu, because if you use the Crescendo on your opponent's turn, and on your next turn, you'll be able to use its graveyard effect, assuming it's sent there, in order to add yourself one of your Dark Machine monsters that is banished or in your deck. Now, you can't summon anything except Dark Machine monsters the turn that you use this, but at the same time, it's kind of what you're playing. And having the ability to get you an extra monster to go into like Galatea, and then overlay the Galatea into Dingirsu for that send or to get one of your resources back is just really solid. And with that, I'll take you on to the next combo. Now, for this next one, I wanted to show what happens if you open up Orcust Symbol Skeleton alongside the Talons, and I think the same thing happens with Bombard if I'm not wrong. But we're going to start here by going into the Galatea Eye, using the effect in order to pitch any card, and then we'll be special summoning out the World Crown that we search. And this card is pretty important now because it allows you to push through certain interruptions, especially when going second. You don't want to be handicapped by the Orcust Girsu choke point alongside the Harpor, so having access to being able to discard a card and then just add this for the extra body can be really helpful. And this one reads, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position to your zone a link monster points to. You can only special summon Crown once per turn this way. When a monster on the field that was special summoned from the extra deck activates its effect, quick effect, you can tribute this card. Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. If this normal summoned or set card is tributed, you can add one World Legacy spell trap from your deck to your hand, and you can only use each effect of Crown once per turn. So we're going to continue here by special summoning it to the zone that Galatea Eye points to, and then going into our Galatea. Use the effect of the skeleton. So no, I was wrong. We actually do need the skeleton for this one in order to bring back the Galatea so that we don't have to use its effect to banish, since we don't have the Girsu or the Harpor this time around. So we're going to use the Galatea now in order to get ourselves the Crescendo, go into our Rusty. Again, we'll be able to get ourselves the pair of Fog Blades via the boots in the graveyard and the Fog Blade that we set off the Rusty, and then we can revive the Orcust Galatea Eye off of banishing, I think, the Galatea, so that it gives us that link monster so that we have all 3 of our traps live. Now, for this next combo, I want to showcase that I feel like the Orcust stuff can still be used as an engine if you would like to, and I'm going to showcase a Cyber Dragon version of it, which I don't really think is the right way to go about it, even though there could be another line of play that takes you into a better way to do it. I've still been messing around with this. If you didn't watch the K9 Orcust video, I mentioned it on there, but we're going to start here by normal summoning the Cyber Dragon core, as we're then going to be able to get ourselves the Cyber Dark Realm. From here, we'll then be able to activate the Cyber Dark Realm, as we'll get ourselves the Cyber Dark Chimera, and then we're going to get the extra normal summon off the realm so that we can normal summon the Chimera. We're then going to go into our Clockwork Knight, and then we're going to be able to use its effect sending away the realm in order to get our Clockwork Knight. And now we'll be able to use the effect of the Chimera in order to pitch the Clockwork Knight so that we can get the Power Bond. And then from here, we're going to link away. You don't want to use the effect of the Clockwork Knight just yet, since it will come up later, but we're going to go into our Cross Sheep, use the effect of the Chimera sending away the Worm. From here, we can then use the effect of the Worm, which will be able to send our Hers to the graveyard. Then we'll be able to get the Hers effect in the graveyard in order to get that search after we get the add back from the Worm for the Cyber Dark Realm. But we're going to continue here by using the effect of her. This will add the original Cyber Dragon, as we'll now be able to use the Clockwork Knight, pitch the Cyber Dragon, get ourselves the Regulus. Now we can special summon out the Regulus so that we no longer have to worry about hand traps. And from here, we'll then be able to activate the Power Bond, as we're going to banish a couple of our Cyber Dragons, as we'll go into the Rampage Dragon. From here, we'll then be able to use the Cross Sheep to bring back the Chimera. And then from here, we're going to go into our River Stormer. And this is important because normally you would go for Infinity, but this is an Orcust video, and I wanted to show how you can get into the Orcust engine with the Cyber Dragon cards. So we're going to continue here by using the effect of River Stormer and then getting the Scrap Recycler in the graveyard, go into our second copy of the Clockwork Knight. We'll then be able to tribute off the River Stormer to revive the Scrap Recycler, and then we can use the Scrap Recycler in order to send away the Orcust Harpor. From here, we'll link away into the Underworld Goddess. This is a lot of extra deck space, I would like to point out, since it's just a Cyber Dragon Orcust thing. I decided to go full out on this one, but we're going to use the effect of Requiem, Skeleton, get ourselves the copy of Lacrima on board, use the effect of Lacrima, as we'll send away the Engraver. We don't have the ability to go into Necroquip because Chimera locks us into the Machine Fusions only, I think it is, but we're going to use the effect of the Engraver now, which will just become an extra body, and because we're playing Orcust, it can be an extra body for an Orcust Link monster as long as you have another Orcust, but we're going to continue here by using the effect of Harpour in order to get that other Orcust monster, then use the effect of Gearsu in order to send the Symbol Skeleton to the graveyard, go into our Galatea Eye. Now, at this point, if you are playing the Babel, you would be able to pitch this, but because it's Cyber Dragon, I'm not playing the Babel. Same thing goes for the Crown, but we're going to continue here by going into our Galatea, as we'll then be able to use the effect of Galatea just to show you can put your Cyber Dragon stuff back, which is really solid for the one-ofs that you play, as we'll get ourselves the Crescendo, and from here we can pass on to our opponent with a couple of Omni Negates alongside the IP, and we also have the Lacrima in the graveyard in order to give you that extra fodder for IP. And then of course you have the follow-up with the Cyber Dark Realm. Now for the penultimate combo, I would like to show how much Orcust Bombard along with the Nightmare has changed. This used to be a way to get into Link Karibo and then summon the Orcust Nightmare from hand, and then eventually that would take you into a Nightmare monster, go into Mermaid. Not anymore. Now it's going to get us into the Orcust Link 1, as we're going to pitch the Orcust Nightmare, so no longer do you really even need to... If you're playing Orcust Bombard, it's really for the extra name. There will be times you do have something you want to get out of hand, so that's why it's in here, but we're going to get ourselves the Orcust Babel, as we'll then be able to activate it, as then we'll use the effect of the Orcust Nightmare in order to send the Galatea Eye, as we'll send the Harpour. From here we'll be able to use the effect of Harpour, special summoning out the Gearsu, use the effect of the Gearsu in order to send away the Symbol Skeleton, go into the Galatea, use the effect of the Symbol Skeleton to bring back the copy of Bombard, and from here we can use the effect of the Galatea in order to get access into our Crescendo. So now you'll see we have the Babel and Crescendo, in which this case we'll now be able to go into our Dingirsu, use its effect in order to get one of our Orcust monsters back. We only play one copy of the Orcust Nightmare, so I chose to get that over the Harpour, and we'll now use the Galatea Eye in order to bring back itself by banishing the Gearsu. Again, important to banish that Gearsu just in case of Called by the Grave or something. We're now going to be able to go into the Rusty, as we'll then be able to activate the Rusty, and then this time around we'll be able to end with the double Fog Blade, have the Link monster on board for the Crescendo, as well as the Babel, which will allow you to get that Link monster on board, because as you see we now have the Orcust Nightmare in the graveyard. We can send the Symbol Skeleton. The Symbol Skeleton will then be able to revive either your Pop or what you need for the Omni Negate. So you do kind of have to choose here. Even having the flexibility could still be an advantage. For the final combo, I wanted to show the engine that I chose to play with the Orcust stuff, and this is going to be the Diabel package. The main point of it is just to make sure that you can resolve your Orcust cards by getting access into an Omni Negate, or at least another card that your opponent would want to hand trap. So we're going to get ourselves the Deception, and this is one of those cards where I said I'm going to break deck building rules a little bit, and you'll see that my build is probably going to be a lot different than other builds you might see, and I'll explain a lot about that later on. But we're going to continue here by using the effect of the Continuous spell in order to get ourselves the Azamina spell, activate the Azamina spell in order to get ourselves the Murcielago, use the effect of the Murcielago in order to get ourselves the copy of the Wanted. Here we'll then be able to use the effect of the Harpour, since we're just going to be special summoning out dark monsters from this point on, and we'll get ourselves the copy of Gearsu, use the effect of Gearsu, as we'll then be able to send away the Orcust Nightmare, go into our Galatea Eye, use the effect of the Wanted in the graveyard so that we can get a draw, and that gives us the discard for the Galatea Eye. So this will give us the ability to either get the Crown or the Babel. If you get the Crown, you have an extra extender, and it's even a level 6, which is maybe something you can do with that, but we're going to get ourselves the copy of the Orcust Babel, as we'll activate it, go into our Galatea, then we'll be able to use the effect of the Azamina spell so that we can put back the Murcielago, then we'll activate the Azamina spell so that we can get access into our Sylvia so that we have that Omni Negation. Then from here we're going to use the Orcust Nightmare so that we can send the Symbol Skeleton, use the effect of the Skeleton, reviving the Galatea Eye. From here we can then use the effect of the Galatea to put back the Symbol Skeleton so that we can get ourselves the Crescendo, having again the Babel plus the Crescendo. And then from here we'll be able to go into our Rusty, get ourselves the 2 copies of Fogblade via sending the boots alongside the one one that we set from the Rusty. Now finally we'll be able to use the effect of Galatea Eye to revive it, and we'll be able to pass on to our opponent with Babel, giving us things that we can do with our graveyard, I believe. Unfortunately, we don't have any monsters in the graveyard to do stuff with. We do have the 2 copies of Fogblade, the copy of Crescendo, which is live because we have the Orcust Link 1 on field. So that's 1 Omni Negate plus the 2 effect negations, and then a second Omni Negate via the Sylvia. With all of the combos out of the way, we can get onto the deck profile, and where I broke the deck building rules, as mentioned, is probably adding the Phantom Knight stuff alongside the 3 copies of the Deception. And the reason I say that it's breaking rules is because typically you wouldn't want to play a card like Trade-In, where you kind of have to pitch a card and then potentially get ashed or hit with something like the Dominus Purge, and then you can't add and end up pretty much losing on a 1 for 2. When you're able to send away an Orcust card, you basically make your opponent make a decision, and you're going to get the board that you want regardless. So that's why I chose to play it at 3 and make it consistency card for the deck. I felt it kind of needed because you're playing so many of these 1-ofs, you have the high level monsters. It feels like if you can get just that extra push, you're able to almost always play, raising the consistency ceiling of the deck. I've also heard some people say that Girsu is a choke point. I don't feel like Girsu is a choke point if you have the ability to discard a card, because you can just go into the Link 1, search yourself the Crown, special summon the Crown, and then from there you can get access into your Galatea. You also have the Girsu that you can banish from the graveyard to revive the Galatea Eye and still get into your Rusty. Just kind of showing why I still play Rusty. It gives you the ability to play beyond hand traps and give you a strong enough M board so that if you do get hand trapped at certain points that your opponent thinks that you might not be able to play through, makes them reconsider that for the next couple of games. Other options that you have here again are the Cloak. If you want to play the Cloak and extend the Phantom Knights package, go beyond 40, you can do that. It just gives you an extra body to link away with, make IP boards added to your Galatea and Rusty pretty much. And I would probably recommend siding the 2 and 2 Charmies. Then alongside Fenrir is a really good card that you may either want to side. If you don't play it, I also understand space is really tight when we have so many options. But then there's the Fiendsmith package. I feel like if you play the Fiendsmith package in this deck, there's too much extra deck stuff that you take out that you shouldn't be taking out because you want multiple copies of stuff like this. Speaking on the extra deck, I didn't read the final last card, and this is the Link 4 Orcust. It takes 2+ monsters, including an Orcust Link monster. You can target one of your banished Orcust or World Legacy cards added to your hand. Then you can shuffle 1 card from your hand into the deck, take control of a face-up monster your opponent controls. During the main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, because it was sent there from the extra monster zone this turn, you can banish it. Send 1 card on the field to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of the Orcust Mech Knight once per turn, and this is a card that is very strong for this deck. Different option besides Access Code Talker that allows you to even get follow-up, take control of a monster, and I'm sorry, not follow-up, it allows you to get some of your resources back, similar to Dingirsu, adding something back to your hand, and if you choose to shuffle it back, then it'll be more like Galatea. But with that, we also have the Orchestrated Return, which is another option that you can play search off of the Galatea. We then have the copy of the Extravagance, which if you don't want to play the 3 copies of Deception, you can play the Prosp alongside the Orchestrated Return and then just play 1 Deception. You can play 1 Called By and 1 Crossout. I felt that the Deception at 3 was something solid that also didn't hinder it going second, because once you're able to put an Orcust in the graveyard and make your opponent make a choice, you're forcing them to use a card. Anyways, with all of that out of the way, I'm just going to get onto the card by card, and we have the 3 Harp Horror, the 3 Girsu, the 1 copy of Nightmare, the 1 copy of Symbol Skeleton, the 1 copy of Bombard, the 1 copy of Crescendo, 1 Babel, the 1 copy of the Talents, the 1 copy of the Worm, the 1 copy of the Boots, the 1 copy of, or the 2 copies of Fogblade, the 3 copies of Star, the 1 copy of the Wonder Wand. We then have the 1 copy of the Crown, the 3 copies of Wanted, the 1 copy of the Grid Azamina, the 1 copy, or the 3 copies of Deception, the 3 Charmies. We then have the 3 copies of Ash, the 3 Imperm, and the 3 Dominus Impulse, because we're not playing really any lights or wind besides the Charmy here, which again is just 1 hand trap. Anyways, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. It's Bones, signing out.